It's Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. So we're going to do Parshat Vayeitzei. We're going to learn about the amazing dream of Ya'akov Avinu. We're going to learn about the vision he has of the ladder on the Har HaMoriyah on the Temple Mount in Yerushalayim. All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to start at the very beginning of the Parsha. And I'll just read to you a little bit in English, and then we'll look into it a lot more. So it says, "And Yaakov, he departed from Beersheba, and he went to Haran. And he encountered the place and spent the night there, because the sun had set. He took from the stones of the place, and he put them around his head, and lay down in that place. And he dreamt, and behold, a sulam, a ladder, was set into the ground. It was set into the ground, and the top of it reached the Shemayim, reached the heavens. And behold, there was Malachei Elokim, there was angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, Hashem was standing over him, and he said, I am Hashem, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Yitzhak. The ground upon which you are lying, to you will I give it, and to your descendants. Your offspring will be as the dust of the earth, and you will burst forth westward, eastward, northward, and southward. And all the families of the earth will bless themselves by you and by your offspring. Behold, I am with you, and I will guard you wherever you go. And I will return you to this soil, for I will not forsake you until I will have done what I've spoken for you." Okay, so what's going on? So the first thing we have to learn is that the place where Yaakov, he was lying down for the night, was the Har HaMoriyah. It's the Temple Mount where the two Beis HaMikdashes stood, the two temples stood, and Ezrat Hashem, the third Beis HaMikdash, will be built there. So what he did, what Yaakov did when he got there is he took 12 stones from the Mizbeach, from the altar that was built by Abraham, when he did the Akedah, and he was going to offer his son Yitzhak. So it's interesting. So these 12 stones were removed from the very altar that the Akedah Yitzhak was done on. And then Yaakov put these 12 stones around him so that he wouldn't be attacked by wild animals. And then he had this vision during the night of this ladder. So the Midrash tells us a lot more about this vision. It was really more of a nevuah, it was a prophecy that he was given. So the Midrash explains that first he saw a ladder that had 70 rungs, and the Malach, and there's a ministering angel of every nation, and he saw the angel that was in charge of the empire of Bavel, the Babylonian empire, and the angel climbed 70 rungs of the ladder, and then it fell. So we see that the Babylonian empire lasted for 70 years, and then it fell, it was destroyed. So the next thing he sees the Malach of Paras, of Persia. And this Malach, this angel, climbs up 52 rungs of a ladder and then falls. And we see that, the Persian Empire lasted for 52 years. Now next he sees, the Midrash says, that he sees the next Malach, and it was the Malach of Yavan, of Greece, the Greek Empire, and it goes up 120. Now, I try to calculate the Greek Empire, and it seems like it's a bit longer in time. So it is confusing when Greece ends and when Rome begins. So I'm not sure, but this Midrash says 120, so he saw 120, and then he sees the fourth Malach, who's the Malach of Edom, of Rome, and the Roman Empire, and he sees this Malach going all the way into the heavens, and he gets really scared because he sees no end, and he doesn't see the Malach fall like the other angels. So if we go into the Midrash, it's interesting because he asks Hashem, he says, will the fourth exile never end? And Hashem says no. Hashem reassures him. So he says, even if the Malach climbs as high as the stars, I myself will take him down when the time comes. I mean, that's really fascinating because we're in 2017 years of the Roman exile, this Gullus Edom, this Roman exile, and America is probably the final incarnation of this Roman Empire, this American Empire. And it's fascinating because America has people in between the stars. They have astronauts, living on, the satellites, the research stations in the sky, in the atmosphere, or above orbit, or wherever they are. It's interesting. So I'm saying, even if, the technology gets so great that men will rise up into the stars, this will end. This empire will end. So first thing, we start to learn about these four empires. We learn about the empires of Bavel, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. Now, the amazing thing is that the very first place in the Torah we learn about these four empires is it's the second pasuk in the whole Torah. So the Torah begins, Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz, that Elohim, he created in the beginning. Elohim, he created the heavens and the earth. And then the very next pasuk, is Va'aretz haisa sohu vavohu v'choshek al pnei sakom. V'ruach Elohim merachefetz al pnei hamayim. And this is very much like Yaakov's nevuah, his prophecy. He was given this vision of the four empires, and these malachim climbing up and down these ladders. So Chazal teaches us that tohu, chaos, represents the first the first empire of Babylon. Bohu is like emptiness, dissolution. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but Bohu represents the second empire of Parasa, Persia. Choshek, darkness, represents Yavan, the Greek empire. And Al Panei Sachom, and upon the face of this deep, this great abyss, this great depth, represents Rome. And we see from the vision of the ladder that just kept going up and up and up into the stars, and it didn't seem to end. And this great depth going down where it's so dark and you don't see where it ends. So we see, right, it's been an incredibly long exile so far. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't know when Moshiach's coming. But we're already 2017 years into it. So then, Varuach Elohim merachefetz al pnei hamayim. And there's a spirit of Elohim, and that's hovering upon the face of the waters. And Chazal teaches us that this Ruach Elohim, this is Moshiach. This represents Moshiach, and this will be the end of the four kingdoms and the establishment of Yemosa Moshiach, where the whole world will return, to see that, everything was created by this one infinite being, and that we're all connected, and it will bring in this age of peace eventually. So we're going to go into the book of Sefer Daniel, the book of Daniel, and we're going to see that Nebuchadnezzar, the first king of Babel, the Babylonian Empire, he was given the same dream, and he, unlike Paro, unlike the Pharaoh in Egypt, where Joseph interpreted his dream, Nebuchadnezzar didn't even remember the dream at all. So Daniel needed to receive the dream itself from Hashem, and then he could interpret it. So we're going to see what he says here. So it's in the second chapter of the book of Daniel, and it's the Pasuk 31, verse 31, and here's what he says. So Daniel speaking to Nebuchadnezzar. He says, "You, O king, were watching, and behold, a huge statue. This statue was immense, and whose brightness was extraordinary, stood opposite you, and its appearance was fearsome or terrifying. So this statue, its head of fine gold, its breast and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of copper, its legs of iron, and its feet partly of iron and partly of earth, or earthenware. So as you watched, a stone was hewn without hands, and struck the statue on its feet of iron and earthenware, and crumbled them. Then they crumbled together, the iron, the earthenware, the copper, the silver, and the gold. They became like chaff from the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, and no trace was found of them. And the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the entire earth. This is the dream, and we will tell its interpretation before the king." So we see here the same vision that Jacob had of the ladder is these four kingdoms. So Nebuchadnezzar was shown that Babylon was the head of these four empires, and it was gold. And then the next empire was Persia and Media, Paras and Madai, and it was silver, and it's the Persian Empire. And then it goes into the copper stomach, which is the empire of Greece, and then the two iron legs going down to the 10 toes, and the 10 toes of iron and earthenware is the mighty empire of Rome. And you see the legs are the longest part of the body, and this has been an ongoing empire. Now Gibbons wrote a book, I think it was called The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, and he was saying that the Roman Empire finally was destroyed in the days of Muhammad II when he conquered Constantinople, and it became Istanbul. He said when Islam conquered Constantinople. But what the Torah is saying is that the Roman Empire is not ended yet, and all this is just a continuation. So the powers of Europe and America, the United States, is like this is the final completion of that empire, that Roman Empire, and we see that this stone that's hewed out of by no human hands is the same stone that forms around Yaakov's head. It's the stones taken from the Mizbeach, from the altar of Abraham. It starts in that altar that Abraham was going to offer his son Yitzhak, Isaac. And Yaakov, he takes those stones and puts it under his head, and it forms into one stone. So we see that his 12 sons, who become the 12 tribes, become united into this one Jewish people. And that is the very stone that smashes this statue one day, that smashes the power of the four empires. and starts the establishment of Yemotza Mashiach, the Messianic age, and an age where all the nations of the world will be brought together in peace and prosperity. So how do we get there? So we're still in this terrifying end of this Roman Empire, and we see these weapons of mass destruction, terrifying nuclear weapons and biological and chemical weapons and mighty aircraft carriers and tanks and jets and all kinds of instruments of destruction. And how are we going to beat, how are we going to beat those swords and the plowshares and those spears and the pruning hooks, all these weapons of war, these trillions of dollars going to all this war? How are we going to bring this into this age of prosperity? And the very first lesson is that we must become united like those 12 stones again into one people. And we had to start looking at each other that we're all in one family. We're all the family descended from Yaakov, from Abraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov. We're all one family, one Jewish people. And we had to stop putting labels on each other. We had to stop looking at each other and saying, oh, this Jewish person, he's too religious, or this Jewish person, he's not religious enough, or this guy, he's too liberal, or he's too conservative, or he's too this, or he's too that. And we have to start looking at each other again as just Jewish people. And we're all in this together. And we have this great mission that Hashem says will be completed by us in the Nevuah that was given to Yaakov. And we will succeed. And we have to unite ourselves. Before the world can be united, the Jewish people must become united themselves. We must become these 12 stones, these 12 tribes that become one again, one unified nation. And when the world sees that, when they see a unified nation, learning the beautiful Torah we see from Hashem, and being Hashem's people, and doing the mitzvos, and being kind to each other, and building this great nation, when we become unified, then the world can become unified. So, B'ezrat Hashem, that we will see soon the fulfillment of the amazing vision that Yaakov was given of the ladder and all this, and we'll see the coming Moshiach very soon. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah. Thank you.